Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are at Rainbow Springs. It's quite the beautiful place. Nature abounds. We're in Central Florida, a little town called Denellen. Gotta keep it straight, Denellen. It is absolutely beautiful. It's around 8 a.m. We're out here today to fulfill our promise to go over what it is to do a long exposure. They so-called have a waterfall, a Florida waterfall anyway, so we'll check that out, see what it looks like. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a hike. You know I love that with all my gear, but well worth it to keep you guys entertained. There you go, see, everybody's having a good time out here today. Waterfalls to the right. March away we'll go. Oh, it's pretty crowded too, man, I'll tell you what. People in this part of the state are quite the early risers. But let's get over to the waterfall, Florida waterfall, and see what we can get. And we'll go deeper into the explanation of long exposure, what it takes, how we do it, the gear it requires. It's a little bit next step up, right? That's what we'll call it. We never say hard. It's next step up. But first part of the next step up, getting there. All right, I'm starting to understand the name Rainbow, huh? Well, man, it didn't take long. Here we go. I believe this is the waterfall, or one of the main waterfalls. Oh, look, it is pretty, isn't it? I mean, check it out. So let me explain a little bit, at least for now, what we're here doing today. Today we're going to do what we call a long exposure in photography. That's when we set our shutter speed to be super slow. I mean, 1 second, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. That's a really long time for the shutter to be open. And what it does is it gives your photo like a mystical look. If there's any motion that's going on while the photo's being exposed. So, AKA waterfall stuff, you get a mist. Doesn't look like water anymore. In the background, you could see the solidity, I don't know, I think I made that up, but how solid the water is. But the more you come into the foreground of the photo, the water that's moving is going to look misty, like super bokeh, blurred, but in a beautiful way. It's going to look like a fog. It's going to look real mysterious if I do it right. So that would be the need behind having a slow-moving source of motion, like slow-moving water, like waterfall. But part of it also is capturing the right environment. You really need to have the framing on point. You really super want to choose your shot. So today, we're going to be searching more than shooting. We're only going to do 2 shots, but at different exposures and from the same angle, but 2 completely different shots. So it's going to be a practice in getting used to taking your time and looking around, because we're limiting ourselves to 2 shots. And really make them count. Wait for the lighting to be perfect. There's some special equipment we'll go into. I got in my pack today. We'll go over that. It's a bit intricate. Again, never hard, just intricate. And, you know, hopefully we catch an outstanding image. But that is today's photo quest, my friends. And here we go. Let's start the scouting. So the longest part of this is the scouting and the waiting. It's really going to be interesting, trust me. As you can see here in Rainbow Springs Park, State Park, there is a tremendous amount of laurel life, and thus I would guess is the reason for the name Rainbow. Because man, everywhere I turn it's a different color plant, just up and down the roads, every trail. I have to say they've done a fantastic job. It is so far completely paved, very nicely and pretty even. Not much uphill so far. I have to keep saying so far because we're just getting going, but $2 entrance fee, free parking. They have a gift shop. I'm guessing they have a concession stand. Another part of this park, but we won't be visiting today, is the water park. They actually have tubing, rafting, lazy river water feature. All right, my friends. So, which way do we go, George? We can go to the left. We can go to the right. I want to go right, so let's go left. So instincts were good. Ignore what I want to do and do what sounded right. Sounded like the water was coming from this direction, and thus we have found it. The namesake Rainbow Springs. The area that has the largest waterfall. As you can see, nothing to go diving off of, but quite beautiful and stunning. And I think the mist that's naturally gathering 3/4 of the way down is perfect for our long exposure. We have the light to our back, so that also not a bad deal. There's another one around the corner. It's a smaller one. We're going to take a look at that. Remember, we're limiting ourselves to only 2 angles to shoot from, so can shoot video all day long, but only 2 angles can be chosen for the long exposure. So before we lock in and make our final decision, let's go up the road and see what this other one looks like. See, a good photographer, you take your time, you look around. It's beautiful. The minute I got here, I looked at it and said, oh man, I could see it has everything I need. Not many people around. Shit, no one around. Light to my back. Gonna have to make the decision soon because that thing is moving and I got a good shot at it right now, but the other one's around the bend. We must look first. Yes, we'll look real quick. I may regret it, but we'll look real quick. All right, I'm actually pretty glad I came up here. This is going to be location number 2. I think we're gonna hustle back down over there to Rainbow Falls because the light's moving on us. But I definitely like this little alcove. I like this little area down here. I think it's just set up perfect for what we want to try to do. But like I said, we're losing light in location number 1. Let's get back over there, set up, because it's gonna take a little bit, and then we'll take some pictures and go over the equipment that got used. Because if I was to stop now and go over the equipment, I'll probably lose the light I'm looking for. And you know, light is the most important, right? When you're a photographer, it's all about the light. Here we go. I'm glad it was right around the corner. Oh, I have been so lucky. Park's getting a little more crowded. It's going to get more difficult to get my shots. Goal number 1 done, Rainbow Falls. I think I got some really good ones. No way to tell. They all look good on the back of the camera. Really can't see the long exposure effect until we get back to the lab and put everything up on the big screen. But I got some really good shots. I'm pretty confident that we got some pretty decent long exposures from a couple of different angles. Gonna head over to the next location. Like I said, starting to get pretty crowded, so taking a little bit more time in between getting shots, but get the other one done and then we'll go over the equipment that we used to get all this done today. We'll wrap things up. Headed out tonight with Rini, so can't spend all day here, but like we always said, whenever we come out to do our work, we never rush. Gotta take our time, especially today. We're doing long exposures. That means you really gotta be on point. You gotta set everything up. You gotta check all your lighting. You have to check the filters you're gonna use. Oh, filters, you don't know about that yet. Yeah, we'll go over filters in a few minutes. Let me go up here, get these other shots, and then we'll go over exactly what I did today. And I'll walk you through how it can work for you, and you should definitely try it at least once if you're going to be playing around with your camera. You got to try long exposure. But up the hill a little more, we'll get a couple of more shots, and then you know, we'll review on the back of the camera. I won't be able to show you because you really won't see it very well, but I'm excited. Looking like things coming out pretty good. Got my glass. Let's move on. Wow, I think I'm more excited about spot number 2 than I was about spot number 1. It was unbelievable. I was able to get so close to where the mist was rising up out of the water that the long exposures there, I could already see it on the back of the camera. They're going to come out outstanding, if I do say so myself. And you know, I don't really ever speak good in my own photography work, but I mean, it's just no doubt this time it's going to come out extraordinarily well. The lighting was perfect, the amount of water rushing over was perfect. I mean, everything just fell into place. I really took my time. Told you I only took 2 shots, one of Rainbow Fall and one of, I don't know, Mini Haha Fall is what we'll call it, but I think Mini Haha's come out better. I'll show you along the way. As you can see, this is what they look like without long exposure. This is what they look like with long exposure. That's Rainbow Fall. That's Mini Haha. Now, all depending on what you're going for, you may prefer the standard exposure. Or if you're into, you know, a little more gothic, dark, creepy kind of look, then you're probably going to start digging the mystical long exposure look. So I figured I'd show you the exposures. Now let me show you exactly what we use to get those, or at least what I use. So let me pull it out of the bag. We'll go over it real quick. I'm wrapping everything up and I explain exactly how everything works. So basically, our long exposure is going to require 4 things. Number 1, of course, a camera. A DSLR, a regular SLR, any type of camera where you can set the exposure setting. So in other words, the shutter speed. You need the camera that you can set the shutter speed. Then, the next thing you're going to want to do is, most cameras have a built-in timer. Mine's does, but I noticed that even the vibration, and it's all digital, just that little tweak of a click to the shutter makes a little bit of movement that kind of throws it off. So, what I like to use is one of these bad boys. You can get a digital one, you can get a cheap old one like I got. This is an automatic shutter release. So, screws onto the back of your camera, hold this bad boy in your hand, click, no vibration coming from you. Next thing you're going to need is a tripod. A good one, a heavy duty one. One that the wind won't be able to push around and move. Because movement is your enemy in the long exposure. Any type of movement is going to cause you to have shutter shake, which is going to absolutely ruin the entire shot. So you want a heavy duty tripod that's thick and windproof as much as possible. Keep it weighed down. I usually hang my bag from the bottom of it just to keep it extra weighed down, right? Shutter release, either digital or manual. Next thing you need is frame. This is a universal frame. It comes with different inserts for the back that I can pop off to fit any kind of lens that I have, because we all know a lens comes in, this one's 58mm insert that I have in there right now. You know, my other lens, 52mm. Got another lens that's 36. So you have different inserts. Fits this one frame holder. This is going to be key for doing long exposures, because the last and final and probably the most important piece is going to be this bad boy right here. This is what you hear them talk about when you hear them talk about glass. Oh, photographer glass. We all know that there's the glass for your lenses, but then if you want to do anything in the long exposure, or if you want to help change the natural density of the background, you're going to need one of these. These are ND filters. They come from 2 to 32 or something like that. The higher the number, the darker they are. So this glass starts to get very expensive. You see, they fit in this slide holder. Try not to get my giant fingerprints all over it. Like that. And then what it does is this diffuses the light so you can use longer shutter speed, or slower actually, whichever way you want to look at it. And that's the key to the long exposure. Without this type of diffusion, it's going to be impossible to do a long exposure shot. So they are sold in several different fashions. There's circular natural density diffusers. There's square or rectangular ones like this that fit a holder like thus. I started with these round ones. They're much cheaper. I moved up to this because it's much more convenient. You need a different round one for each lens you have, and then you would need one in each number. With this, all you need is the holder, the insert, and then you have everything at your disposal. But these don't come cheap. This is a very cheap set. It cost me around $95 for all the glass I have here. I have from 2 to 16 in both complete solid natural density, and then I have these graded ones where you'll see there's a transition in them. They go from very dark on top to completely clear on the bottom. So as you slide these up in the frame holder, you get more density in certain areas. So the color of these may seem black, but they're actually all blue. And the difference between expensive ones and cheap ones are twofold. A, the glass itself. Expensive glass is very fragile, scratches super easily, but is crystal clear and leaves nothing to take out in post. Cheap glass, such as this, has an awful color blue. You really have to have your shot lined up perfect. Otherwise, in post, you're going to be working super hard to take out all the ugly blue that comes through. But you can start to see the benefit of this, right? If you have a day where the sky isn't that blue out, but the rest of the picture is absolutely perfect, well, then you would slide in one of these graded density filters, so you could just have the sky be really, accentuated in more blue, and the bottom stay completely clear because it's such a great day out. So filters, definitely cool, definitely help enhance your photography, take it to that next level, but 100% necessary to do any kind of long exposure. So that's what we were using today. We had our trusty old heavy-duty tripod, we had our frame holder, we brought our complete set of glass. I was only going to bring one or two, and it turned out that I needed to go through quite a few of them to get the right one. So never think you know it. I thought I knew it. I was wrong. I did not know it. I thought I knew it, and there's your mistake. But being the mindful photographer I am, I bring the whole kit. Yeah, it's only a pound more, but man, made all the difference. I screwed everything up without it today. And of course, you want your shutter release. A external shutter release, because the shake from the camera itself be enough to distort your picture to where you're gonna go home and cry because you got the perfect shot and then you moved it. Man, I hate when that happens. Wow, what a fantastic day out with my camera. Like I told you, when you go out with the camera, you should always have in mind that you're going to take your time and don't cut yourself short. You find a lot of amazing and beautiful things. I'm looking up to some eagle right there. It's unreal, this park. Rainbow State Park, Rainbow Springs in Denellen, Florida. If you get a chance and you like nature, just walk around, want to relax for a couple hours, or paddleboard, or kayak, or canoe, or want to tube. They do tubing in the spring and summer. It's really, I'm coming back to Greenie. I think Greenie will really like this place. Great for getting your exercise in, only $2. Definitely one of the cheapest of all the Florida state parks. And if you're a photographer, it's a dream. I've been here about 3.5 hours now. Could easily spend another 20 hours looking around. There's all little nooks and crannies and different kind of flowers. If you have a model, holy moly, come with your model. She's gonna have the best time and get the best photos for her portfolio just because of all the different flowers. I'm telling you, it's one of the reasons they call it Rainbow Springs. It's gotta be all the flowers. But, as promised, I told you, we do a long exposure. I think this was a great long exposure tutorial. Let me know if you like the photos. I'll put a bunch of them at the end. I took a lot, even though it was only 2 spots. I took a lot of damn photos. And, as always, y'all know how we do it on this channel. Comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so every time a new one comes out, it can come right to you. Love ya. See y'all in the next one. Rainbow Springs, worth the trip.